Hi. So, I might sound a little different in this video because I'm a little bit ill right now. And oh, by the way, I didn't stretch my ears. These are just fake plugs. I like the look of them. But anyway, I was really debating myself on whether to film myself in this kind of state or not. Because, anytime I make a video, if I'm going to be talking about something or I'm going to be in some kind of state, I think that it should be something that is like beneficial or useful to anyone out there. So, but I'm a little bit ill right now. And so there might be cuts in this video because I literally need to blow my nose. It's nothing too big. It's like basically my nose and a little bit my throat, but nothing else really. But so why I have decided to film myself is because I want to analyze, like, why would something like this happen energetically? Because I think that might be useful to people. And also, I just want to show you guys that, like, if you are somebody who is learning about this or practicing this law of attraction manifestation thing, it's not about being perfect, and it's not about something like this never ever happening. So I just want to talk about that because me, even as someone who does practice this, stuff still happens sometimes, and stuff still gets away from me sometimes. It's not about being perfect. It's just about doing the best that you can, basically. And otherwise just chilling out about whatever is happening. Something like this. And before anyone thinks in their head that I should be in bed and not making this video, I have been being in bed. And I have slept and everything. And now I can't sleep anymore. And so it's like, if you can't sleep, there's like, energetically speaking, there is no use for you being in bed, because you know what you're doing? You're just practicing not being able to sleep. So it would be more useful for you to just get up and do something, anything. And I like making videos. It's not like I feel obligated to do this or something. So this actually is making me feel better right now. So that's why I'm doing it. It's not because I feel like I have to or something like that. If I didn't feel like doing this, I just wouldn't do it. That's how it is. So, but like, why would something like this happen? It's even a little bit ironic because didn't I just post a video about getting some rest? And in that video, I was talking about how, a lot of people are very overwhelmed and tired out there. And then, your body will tell you if you get to like battery 0. So now your question might be, well, am I overwhelmed then? Have I been overwhelmed? And I actually don't think I have, because I asked myself that same question. And, no, I am not overwhelmed. I actually have a lot of time. And I get everything done that I need to get done. But, that's overwhelmment is not the only reason for why something like this might happen. So let's talk about it. So, I know that the normal, grounded, down-to-earth response answer to something like this would be, if you have a lot of sick people around, then there's a chance that you might get sick as well. And currently that is the case in my life, but I just want to point out that you have probably noticed this as well, that you don't always get sick just because somebody else is sick around you. And I know people might want to say, well, sometimes your immune system is just weaker than others. I don't think that's the case. Personally, that's not my understanding of energy. Why would your immune system be weaker sometimes than others? It's because you're doing something in your head and you haven't caught it. You're not paying attention to it. And so it's like, it's getting bigger, but you're not noticing. Because energetically speaking, what is an illness? An illness is just negative emotion amplified. So negative emotion that has gotten bigger and you haven't done anything about it. You haven't noticed it. So now it's bigger. Now you're having symptoms in your body that you are having some type of negative emotion that you're not doing anything about. And that's, energetically speaking, that's all that illness is, because it's these patterns of thought. If you have a lot of negative emotion, what's happening inside your body energetically is that you are just restricting the natural flow of energy that would be there otherwise. Because, your cells, every single one of your cells, has individual consciousness, just like you do. And these cells are also asking for whatever they need to be operating normally. But it's like you are the boss of you. If you're doing something in your head that doesn't let them operate normally, then so you are restricting your own energy flow, then that restricts your cells receiving what they need. And then something like this happens. And usually, because this is just like a small little cold, I promise you I will be fine pretty quickly. So this is something that would happen to people who are have been recently stressed about something. This could happen because, stress is just negative emotion that you haven't done anything about. And so these physical symptoms is just telling you that you are harboring some sort of negative emotion that you haven't done anything about, or that you haven't noticed, or that you have tolerated or something. Because otherwise you would not get sick. Otherwise, if you weren't doing that, your cells would be receiving what they are asking for, because you're not in the way. And you are the only one that can get in the way of them receiving what they're asking for. And your body knows what to do. Your body knows how to make itself well again, but if you're in the way of that happening, then it just literally can't do it. If you're in the way with your own patterns of thought, then it literally can't do it. So now your question might be, well, if something like this happens to me, should I try really hard to figure out what have I been thinking about so I could fix it? And my answer is not really. No, you don't really need to figure out what have you been thinking to fix this. Your first priority right now should be just chilling out, just finding some relief. Basically, don't try to figure this out. Just try to find some relief, try to feel better. But if you're like me, you might just be interested, like intellectually interested in like trying to maybe see if you can figure out why I would be having this manifestation. And you know what it might be for me? I think it's just that, especially because I have had other people around me, like recently, who are sick. It makes me think about the people that I can't help, because I don't like to see people suffering. I wished that I could do something, or I wish that I could give them this knowledge, because I really think that it might help them in some kind of way. But I do know at the same time that this is not everybody's path. And I can't insert this knowledge into anybody's head. And I can't even control, like, if you're somebody that watches this kind of stuff and watches my videos and you're interested in this stuff, like, I can't even control what you are getting out of the things that I say, because that is so dependent on who you are and what is of relevance to you. You're not going to remember everything that I say. And then it's also dependent on the kind of emotional state you're in when you're watching these things, and like all of that determines what you get out of them. And I can't even control how you understand these things, All I can do is just share whatever I have come to know, and then whoever this is for is gonna know that this is for them, because they're gonna feel that resonance or that feeling of interest, and that's how they know. But I still have absolutely zero control over what they are getting out of this, or if they are understanding me in the way that I am trying to convey, basically. It's not up to me. And then there are lots of other people in the world who are not ready to hear this information. And they might be ready at some later point. But some of them will never be ready, because it's not everybody's path. It's not their path in this lifetime. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing to do about that. And they're figuring stuff out on their own to the best of their ability. But still, it's like, if I see some kind of suffering happening, and I feel like I have something that I could, say to this person that might help them, but if they're not ready to hear, then there's nothing that I can do. I can't really say anything. So basically, if anybody has some kind of question and I might have the answer, let's say, if they're not ready to hear the answer, I can't give it to them. And so that kind of thing does end up affecting me sometimes. And so I find that a lot of the times because it's not about getting these people to be different, it's not about getting these conditions to be different. You can't make anybody be ready to hear something that they're not ready to hear. And there was a long time in my life I wasn't ready to hear this stuff. You can't insert this into somebody's experience. You can't go telling them about it. So then I find that a lot of the time I have to feel better about the fact that I can't help everyone, And there might be only a few people who get what I am talking about. If you're in this business, in this law of attraction manifestation business, or you are in, I don't know, like some kind of tarot business or just spirituality in general, then you probably get this stuff in some kind of way. But then you also know that you're kind of the odd one out very often. It's very possible that in your environment, you are the only person who knows about these things or cares about these things, thinks that they are important. And it doesn't matter really how awake you are. Like you can't awaken anybody else if they're not ready for it. So it's kind of, for you too, it can be lonely sometimes, because it's like you can have whatever epiphanies you want to have in your bedroom, but that doesn't mean you can go and tell anybody about it, you know? Because they would just think that you're insane, and they would try to bring you back down to earth, basically, if they're not ready to hear. But, if you see a lot of suffering and you can't do anything about it, and even if you do have some kind of knowledge that would help someone, if people are not ready for it, you can't help them. And that's just a fact. So why I'm talking about this is because this is what I think that this is for me. It's just me being too aware of, all the people that I can't help. Because this is also about my focus. I can either focus on the people that I can't help or the people that might be getting something out of this, And I think that I have just been focusing too much on the people that I can't help. Just because I've been having people around me who are sick and, I can't tell them about their energy flow. That doesn't mean anything to them. And so I can't even tell them something like, you need to get your attention off of this thing for it to go away. I can just know for myself that this cold, this is part of why I'm making a video right now, because that gets me off of thinking about how, my body is feeling, or that I have to blow my nose or a lot or whatever. It's just something else for me to focus on. And this is the exact thing that you have to do if you want to get rid of something. You have to focus your attention on something else, not on this thing that you want to get rid of. But, I can't tell them that. Because a lot of people, they're just so used to focusing on what the problem is. And so they will just keep on talking about the problem over and over and over again, trying to get to some kind of solution, but I just know that the universe doesn't work that way. If you keep talking about the problem, it will just get bigger. Because this is where your focus is, so the law of attraction is just delivering to you more and more of where your focus is, which is on the problem. But it doesn't help that I know this stuff. I can't always convey that to someone else. So this is just something I wanted to talk about. Also because I just want you to see that, I'm not perfect at this stuff either. I don't want to come on here and always be, looking perfect and be looking like I have all of this together and I never experience any negative emotion ever, and I never ever get sick from my own negative emotion, from my own restriction of my own energy flow. It just doesn't happen. I don't want to portray something like that. I want to, authentically show you what it's like working with this stuff. It's just like sometimes I can't keep up with my own energy flow. And then stuff like this happens. And I know that this happens to everyone, so I just want to show you that it's okay, it's fine. It's just part of the process. It doesn't mean that something has gone wrong or that you are not a deliberate creator or you're really bad at like managing your mood. Because I can tell you honestly, yeah, that for the most part, I am pretty happy. And I'm not like overwhelmed or anything in my life. But that doesn't mean that I don't have sometimes something that causes me negative emotion. And I don't always catch it. And then this is the result of that. But I know that I will be fine in time. And I will start to feel better, and that's what this is about. It's not about being perfect, it's just about feeling better right now, finding some relief. So I hope that it's been interesting for you to hear about. And thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next